It is the ultimate enchanted castle. Lush gardens, sumptuous rooms decorated with precious furniture and priceless art. There are glowing chandeliers and elegant bathrooms. Not bad for a dollhouse.
It is 9 feet square and stands 14 feet tall. It's got 11 rooms, and each room is filled with murals, paintings on the walls and the ceilings of fantasy stories from childhood. So it's all sorts of creative stories to incite one's imagination.
Kathleen McCarthy is chief curator of Chicago's Museum of Science and Industry, home to the castle since 1949, when it was donated by the woman who conceived of it, designed it, and poured her heart into it, Colleen Moore.
Colleen Moore was one of Hollywood's most successful silent film stars. She played an exuberant, youthful, independent, but scandalous flapper. At a time when most women wore their hair long, she cut it short. She wore short skirts, and this made her both an icon and one of the highest paid actresses in Hollywood.
So she could well afford to pursue her childhood passion, building dollhouses, spending a reported $500,000 on the fairy castle from 1928 to 1935. Moore employed some 100 Hollywood designers and craftsmen to build it. By then, she was an established movie star. She made more than 50 films in all, even a few talkies.
God bless you, Tom. I hope she makes you happier than I did.
Do you remember whether she had a favorite one that she really was proud of?
Well, I remember watching Lilac Time with her, and I was very little the first time I saw it. I remember Gary Cooper, the big kissing scene, and being so flabbergasted the first time I saw it. Oh, Grandma!
Alice Hargrave is Colleen Moore's granddaughter. When you look at this, what goes through your mind about this woman?
How fanciful and exotic and fun.
And Hargrave spent many fun afternoons with her grandmother visiting the fairy castle, a dollhouse which never actually housed any dolls. Why aren't there dolls or little miniature fairies that we can see in the house?
Well, the fairies, she would see them, and she would see them all the time. And she would, I remember constantly her saying, "Oh, Alice, look, there went one." And I'd turn and I'd always just miss them. And I just couldn't understand that. And then the whole idea of the floating staircase in the hall was that there are no banisters because fairies have wings. They don't need banisters.
But see them or not, fairies can be hard on their surroundings. The castle was designed to last, but like any older home, this one has deteriorated over the years.
We had a little bit of corrosion, which you can still see, and the water came and it affected the floor.
Conservators like Ines Lidas spent 4 months working with tiny brushes, scrapers, and other tools. It must be a fun project.
It is. I mean, I'm getting to play with a dollhouse, and I get paid for it. I mean.
And just like a full-sized house, restoring this one has cost a pretty penny. Around $200,000. The castle's running water and glowing lights, for example, have been replaced with a modern fiber optic system. But the restoration did provide a bonus. For the first time in decades, museum visitors got a chance to see some of the castle's treasures up close. Items like this sort of bearskin rug. What's the story behind this?
Well, of course, it was really difficult to find a miniature bear. So this was created by a taxidermist from a fur that Colleen Moore brought to him. And the teeth in the mouth of the bear came from a mouse.
There's an autograph book bearing the signatures of 6 presidents, the world's tiniest Bible, and miniature books actually handwritten by famous authors.
Colleen Moore was able to get notable authors like F. Scott Fitzgerald, John Steinbeck, Edgar Rice Burroughs, who wrote Tarzan, did Tarzan Jr. for.
Walt Disney had his studio make a tiny portrait of Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Writer and ambassador Claire Booth Luce presented what was said to be a tiny piece of the true cross on which Jesus Christ was crucified. The fairy prince and princess, who by the way have separate bedrooms, sleep in real style with toiletries to match.
Scissors that actually cut, a razor that is sharp, and a mirror for him to use while he's grooming.
And look at the princess's beautiful toiletry set.
And so these are made out of gold with diamonds, and they were created by a jeweler in Boston. And to make the hairbrush, he trimmed the edges of his wife's fox collar to get the tiny bristles for the brush.
Colleen Moore took her castle on tour across the country to raise money for children's charities. Along the way, she met Chicago stockbroker Homer Hargrave. They wed in 1937, and she left the world of Hollywood behind. Colleen Moore died in 1988. She seems like such a remarkable woman.
That she was. And I think it's interesting how her whole persona have taken shape in this amazing castle that incorporates so many aspects of her life and her loves. It contains family, it contains Hollywood, it contains culture from around the world, history, literature.
And now, with its sparkle renewed, the castle will bring joy to countless generations.